So there are some ways to feel profitable in your business, no matter how much money you make. And this is a series where I talk about that. In the last video, I shared a couple of pieces of software and approaches to bookkeeping that make the biggest difference for me as an academic coach in terms of feeling less stress about money in my business. And today I want to talk about some planning routines that have really shifted my ability to feel like I'm running my business and my business is not running me. Because that's one thing profit is, right? When I've really questioned, like, what is success to me? What is profitability to me? One of those things is that I am able to plan my time, that I actually have control over my time rather than an institution like a school where I teach having control over what I do with my time. And one of the hardest pills to swallow when I first transitioned into academic coaching is how I felt like I was constantly doing the bidding of other people. I was like, wait a second. I started my own business so I could have more freedom, not so that I would run around and like schedule a client session here because they needed it, or work on weekends because I feel scared about money, or whatever it was. And so I had a real talk with myself, and I looked at some of the planning habits I had that were actually making me feel more stressed and less profitable. And it made such a huge difference to put these routines into place. So there are 4 of them I'm going to share with you. And the first one is that I set my schedule according to my needs, not my clients'. And oh God, I wish it was easy for me to do this. I mean, it probably took me 5 years to just even get to that realization. Just because a client says, oh, we can't meet this particular night. Can you meet blah, blah, blah night? That's the only night I'm available. Just because they say that doesn't mean I need to say yes to that. So it's like muscle building, right? To set boundaries and to be consistent with boundaries. It took me some time, but I eventually got really good at me setting my schedule and then just telling my clients yes or no based on my availability. And it was shocking that often when they made a request that I used to think I needed to bend over backwards for, when I just set the boundary, no, I'm not available. Okay. They were fine with it. I couldn't believe it at the time. Codependent, a little bit, maybe. Though I don't need to pathologize myself here. Okay, the second routine is that I just became rigorous about not working after 6 p.m. on weekdays or on weekends. Now, some of you who are in my coach training program know that occasionally I do offer calls on weekends. So, but I made sure to do it at times that felt good to me and only things that felt good to do. Like my community calls that I lead for our Anti-Boring Educators Club, they leave me inspired and energized, and I don't have to prepare for them. And when they're done, they're done. And so occasionally I decided like 1 weekend a month is okay for me to work. But otherwise, I was just really clear. I choose my way of being self-employed is that I want to work weekdays, it's kind of the 9 to 5 schedule, less than that preferably if I can get to that. And, some self-employed people actually prefer to work on weekends because they prefer to have more flexibility around their work days. And for me, I just felt better when I was working a standard work day. And also I was able to hold boundaries with myself too. And so no, that time is for you to play, Gretchen, or that time is for you to do self-care. It is not time to work. And that seemed very helpful for me when I transitioned into self-employment. Okay, I got 2 more routines that I want to share with you. But first, just a special invitation. If you're somebody considering starting your own business, or you have started a business as an academic coach or ADHD coach or executive function coach or a tutor, if you're working one-to-one and with students in some capacity or thinking about it, head on over to gretchenwagner.com/crash course. I have a free series of emails for you that are going to let you in deeply behind the scenes and into how I run my academic coaching business and help you decide if growing your business is something you want to do. So that's for you. Okay, routine number 3. This is my favorite one. Well, routine number 4, I'm pretty happy with too, but I schedule all my vacations ahead of time. So this includes 2 weeks at the winter holidays. I just wanted to give myself the same breaks that my family of educators has. My sister-in-law teaches in a high school. My brother teaches at a college. I wanted to have the same pace as they do. I wanted a spring break, so I always chose a spring break and just put schedule nothing on my calendar during that spring break. And then I eventually started taking the entire month of July off. And oh my goodness, did that make such a difference to just put it on the calendar at the beginning of the school year, or even months before the school year starts. I have all of these booked, and my clients who sign on know about them too. And it has just made all the difference. It forced me to take vacations. If I don't put it on the calendar ahead of time, I may not take it. So this, game changer. Do you have any game changers about time, by the way? Like, how do you handle time and make sure that you do the things that are good for you to do as a self-employed person? If you've got some ideas that I'm not sharing, please put them below in the comments. I would love to hear either what you struggle with or some additional ideas that I can maybe borrow from. All right, here's the last routine. I regularly question the thought, my clients need me all the time. I just noticed how much I really thought my clients were dependent on me, that they couldn't survive without me. Oh my goodness. And those thoughts came up when my uncle started planning a bunch of really lovely family vacations and invited the rest of us to come along. And some of them, like one was in October. And I was like, there's no way I can be gone as an academic coach in the month of October. Turns out my clients were fine with me being gone as long as I set it up in advance. As long as I didn't even have subs for them. We set it up as we're going to get your school year started in September. You're going to have a few habits that you're going to work on. And then while I'm gone for 2 weeks in October, we're going to see how well you get those habits independently. And then we'll come back and we'll tweak whatever didn't work out so well while I was gone. And they loved that. So the other thing that helped me question this belief is that I started taking sabbaticals. There was one year in particular where I had heard about this process of this person who takes a sabbatical week every 7 weeks, and he just marks it on his calendar. The funny thing is that even though I was told it was every 7 weeks, I thought about it as every month. So for 1 year, I put aside a week. The last week of every month was my sabbatical week. That was a little stressful. That was too often because the week before the sabbatical week, I was rushing around trying to do everything needed so that I could take that week off. And the idea of taking it off was to go play. Kind of like in the last video, we talk about profit and what you're going to do with your profit money. These sabbatical weeks were like profit, but my time. Like, what is something? Do I just want to lay around and read? Do I want to go camping? Do I want to maybe actually work on something in depth for the business, but I don't want to answer email and I don't want to have to do anything else? I can follow my curiosity and my passion, and that sure made me feel profitable. But I really had to question that thought. And the more I learned to notice the thought and question it, the more I discovered that I have a lot more freedom as a service-oriented, self-employed person than I had assumed I had at the beginning of my business. So I wish you well in learning how to use time in a way that makes you feel profitable and makes you feel joyful about your business and not resentful. And if you're moved to like or subscribe to this video and to my channel, that would help me out so much as I am trying to grow my YouTube presence. And I'll see you in the next video, everyone. Bye.